"I am sorry, my dear," he said, taking her into his arms. "Trust me, you will be happy once we get settled." He whispered into her ear, "Another baby, perhaps." He kissed her earlobe. She felt a wave of love and despair. If only she could stay forever in the protection of her husband's arms. He had reached out to Brigid behind her, and she felt their child join the embrace. The three of them entwined. She would have to rend them apart. How could she do it? With Giles gone, Ellen prepared Brigid for bed. They were travelling with no servants, having decided to procure a new household once they arrived in Ireland. It was a relief to have no other witness to her despair. No judging eyes of a stern nanny upon her as she lavished her child with kisses. Brigid was sitting up on the bed in her rosebud nightie. She didn't look in the least sleepy as she clutched her doll Annie to her chest.
"Mammy, I don't like it. Everything is moving. I want to go home."
Ellen barely noticed the gentle rock of the boat in the harbour. How would her little girl cope once they were in the middle of the vast ocean? What if there was a storm? She took a breath, brushed Brigid's soft curls with her fingertips. "You're going on a big adventure," Ellen had told her. "Crossing the Atlantic Ocean. You might see whales." Ellen remembered the grief and panic of the journey over, how she had been saved by Giles. But the day that had stood out had been the one when she saw the big blue whale as it cut through the vast ocean right before her eyes. Brigid was unimpressed.
"But why do we have to go?"
she whined. "Because Daddy is going to help make a national cathedral in Ireland," Ellen explained. "Ireland is his home, and it's going to be yours."
"And yours?"
Brigid had looked into her daughter's green eyes, her chest tight and her heart cracking. If only she could be sure her secret was safe. If only she could go back. From the spring day when her husband had announced they were returning to Ireland, Ellen had been in a tumult. Every evening, circling the courtyard garden at their apartment building, the sweet-smelling scent of crabapple blossoms on the trees closing in on her as she smoked cigarette after cigarette, trying to work out what to do. It had not been long before Giles had noticed her lack of enthusiasm. "Don't you want to go back home?" he asked one morning over breakfast. "Every Irishman I know dreams of returning one day." He folded his paper next to his empty breakfast plate, raised his eyebrows at her, his brown eyes questioning. She thought the words, "Every Irishman with your money, maybe," but she didn't say them. "Do you not realize how lucky we are?" he said, his cheeks flushed. "I've been selected to work on the designs for the National Cathedral in Dublin, and then after that the new airport in Collinstown. Everything is grinding to a halt here. The money's running out." "Yes, of course I know," she said. Her husband had worked hard since they'd arrived in America, steadily building up his reputation as an architect. Each building he'd worked on more impressive than the next. She had been so proud to look out of their top-floor apartment at Fifth Avenue and the skyline of Manhattan, which seemed to reach higher and higher with each passing year. Giles had worked on the Manhattan Trust Building and the Empire State Building, which was an amazing 102 floors. He had taken her up not long after it had opened. She had been terrified at first, but once he had convinced her to open her eyes, she had been thrilled with the view. Secretly, she admired the Chrysler Building the most. To her, it resembled a spectacular shiny tower from another world. But of course, she never told Giles that. "Brigid will meet her grandparents, her aunts and uncles, and her cousins." Giles continued to list the reasons for their return to Ireland. "We'll be surrounded by family." Giles had always talked with affection of his family home in Blackrock, Dublin, the big white house with the ample lawn facing the sea. The past year she had noticed how much more he talked about it, how he ached for home. "My new position is well paid. We will want for nothing, Ellen," he had told her.